So, Hazard's ready for play. 2-2-2 setup. That's just talking about that 66 roll queue experiment where I'm going to live my life. Ash Hero Mastery. I'm excited to mess with that. Hero updates. This is the big thing. All right, so damage roll passive increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Oh boy. Healing reduction increased from 20 to 25%. As a tank, this scares the nonsense out of me. As a DPS, I think this is great. As a support, why am I in the game? For 3 seconds after taking damage, they're going to get 25% less healing. That is painful. Global projectile size bonus. Hit scan radius large reduced from 0.8 to 0.7, or 0.08 to 0.07. Hit scan radius small from 0.05 to 0.04. Projectile large radius reduced from 0.15 to 0.12. Interesting. I'm not sure what the difference between the hit scan large and hit scan small is. I'd have to look that up. All right, developer comments. The recent increase to Rocket Punch wall slam angle added a lot of consistency and made Doomfist significantly more threatening. To help account for this, we're pulling out some of the survivabilities from Seismic Slam. Shockwave range reduced from 18 to 15 meters. That's very good. And the cooldown's increased by 0.5 seconds. So it means that he's in and out a little bit less, and he does less damage in an AoE. And the reason that the meter range difference is big is because he gets, like, hitting the Seismic Slam gives him armor and I think overshield. I think he earns overshield. So I don't think it's a big enough nerf that Doom will, like, see less play, but I think it'll be interesting. Hazard. They made a lot of changes. Community feedback, largely positive, despite underperforming slightly. He underperformed because everybody and their mother was picking him up and playing him into bad matchup. So, and like everybody that wasn't playing Hazard's focus was on playing the counter to Hazard. So I don't think that him underperforming is a bad thing there. I think that means that everything was working out correctly. Spike Guard's protection sometimes felt inconsistent. On whose side? Due to it being used from a person perspective. Okay, to address this, we've widened the forward blocking angle. Great. Provides him more reliable protection. Exactly what I wanted on this guy who felt invincible half the time. Additionally, the damage of Spike Guard has been slightly reduced to balance the increased bone spur damage and projection radius. We're also strengthening the jagged wall to make it more impactful, while increasing the time required to trigger the knockback to minimize frustration of frequent knockbacks. Okay, interesting. So Bone Spur, they upped the damage from 6.5 to 7.5. Center volley projectile is no longer a random launch spread and now always launches straight. That's really good. That just makes him feel more consistent. Spike Guard, the angle of protection provided by Spike Guard increases from 104 to 180 degrees. Damage per second reduced from 75 to 70. The damage reduced is really big. I think that's important. 180 is the full half. 104 is a really weird size. I think 90 would have been too skinny, so they went with just slightly larger. I mean, splitting him front and back is fine. They said the angle of protection, so that means that the angle of damage isn't any larger, because the angle of damage was only like 90 degrees, so this is probably fine. The giving him more protection is just hard, though, so I think it'll be interesting. Post/recovery time for primary fire and quick melee increased from 0.3 to 0.5 seconds. Okay, I think that's good, so that he doesn't just like combo you out as quickly. Health increase. The wall gets another 50 health. That's fine. It was dying pretty quickly, and honestly, nobody was killing them. The knockback damage is increased from 40 to 50. 50 is a giant chunk, man. Like, his combo is wall, jump, knock them back into it with a violent slash, shoot once, and then go into the protective block. And I think he, with that setup, can just still annihilate a squishy. So, I don't know. Downpour. Airborne momentum lost by casting Downpour reduced from 90 to 50. So before, if he cast it, he would, like, basically almost stop moving. Now he only slows down to 50%. I don't know that I like that change. That's actually kind of insane. Vault. Minimum obstacle distance to trigger vault reduced from 1.75 to 1.25, which should allow him to get over small stuff. That's just quality of life. I'm totally okay with it. Developers comment, the overrun changes from the last patch have been great for ensuring more Malga playstyles, which I think is true, while converting some of his armor back to normal health to balance that out. So he's just getting nerfed. Base health goes up 50, armor goes down 50. That's a pretty significant amount of survivability taken away from him. Orisa developers comment, although Orisa's effectiveness dropped off further than expected, the removal of Fortify heat reduction mechanic has had positive effects on gameplay, make ammo resource more meaningful. We're keeping that change while walking back some of her armor health loss. We also think her Terra Surge ultimate could be more effective, so it now pulls in enemies from a further distance, but the damage range hasn't been changed, so it won't be any harder to get out of. Armor increased from 300 to 325, so just another 25 armor. Yeah, so they just moved 25 health over to armor. So it's kind of like the Malga change in reverse. I don't know if that's gonna affect her. That's a very small change, it feels like. But I think she still felt fine over this last patch, so I'm pretty happy with that. The Terra Surge pull radius going from 8.5 to 10.5 meters, that's so huge. I think it's absolutely awesome. Especially because they're not increasing the damage AoE, so it's just as easy to get out of. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I'm excited for those changes. Ravenous Vortex will now be more effective at dealing with bursts of high-speed momentum, though this change does not have much effect on abilities that continuously move you for a duration like Reinhardt Charge and Diva Boosters. Now briefly interrupts horizontal movement when first affecting a target. Slowing field now ignores barriers for line of sight. That's big. So basically, if you're already moving, it won't mess you up, but if you try and move out of it, it'll mess you up, is what it sounds like to me. Okay. Winston, developer comment, Winston's leap now has a higher maximum damage to better reward accuracy when landing directly next to a target, though it still has damage fall off when landing farther away. Basically, he just does 10 more damage when he lands on you. I think that's a good change for him. Winston's great. Although I hear Winston is just really important in top 500 right now, so I don't know. Some inconsistencies with Coach Gun was disabled by mobility lock. Okay, so Coach Gun can now be activated while affected by mobility locking abilities. That is a difficult sentence to say without feeling like you're saying the same word twice. But won't move Ash. So basically, if you're in a rat trap and you fire off the Coach Gun, you can knock somebody back, but you won't be knocked back. I think that's really a good change. That's just a quality of life thing that probably should have happened a long time ago. Fair is a difficult hero to deal with for many of her high-flying mobility and burst damage. Yes, we've reducing how often her horizontal movement cooldown is available to make it slightly more positioning commitment when used. 1 second to the jet dash. I don't think this nerfs her enough. I'm tired of Farah, but that's because I can't aim. Sojourn received adjustments to increase the rate of her energy gain and shifted some power into her Disruptor Shot ability recently. Although the secondary fire lacking in impact undermines her core gameplay fantasy as the railgun hero. We're adding some damage back to it, and we'll keep a close eye on how powerful she ends up being. Secondary fire damage scaling increased from 1 to 100 to 20 to 120. So basically, you're just getting at least 20 damage out of the secondary fire no matter what. Interesting. I thought it did more damage because a 1 to 100 means that it won't just instant headshot certain characters, I don't think. Crit damage multiplier is only 2x, I thought. Soldier could use a small increase to his effectiveness, and with changes to the primary role passive, it's a good time to make his biotic field more available. I don't think this matters at all. The healing on this is so small that, unless you're just using it to heal up between fights wherein support isn't always there, it just doesn't feel impactful. Symmetra's performing quite well, but we want to enable further team play around an interesting ability like Teleporter by making it more difficult to destroy. This is cool. I think nobody was destroying teleporters unless between fights, so I don't think it matters. We'd like to make turret more effective without increasing its damage. It now builds more quickly to better enable repositioning for a faster pace of gameplay. We'd also fixed a grievous oversight from moving to larger health pools, and Torbjorn's Forge Hammer will strike fear into his enemies once again. Hammer kills are back on the menu, boys. 70 damage hammer. Let's go. And deploy turret build time reduced from 3 to 2.5, and base health increased to 250. That feels better. Developer comment, mostly quality of life change that makes Venture's cooldown cycle more consistent, as they tend to activate Burrow while soaring through the air quite often. Cooldown rate is now faster anytime Burrow is active rather than requiring the player to be underground. I'm of two minds on this. One, that just makes sense, right? Like, the fact that it was only active while you were actively underground is probably bad. On the other hand, Venture's so in and out already and this is just going to make that happen even more, so I don't know. Adjusting the values of regenerative burst will now increase Baptiste's self survivability while also providing greater support to his teammates. Cooldown decreased from 15 to 14, radius increased from 10 to 12. This is huge. Bap is one of those places where his grenades don't always feel the most helpful. So being able to use regenerative burst while keeping up primary fire on targets and not having to just swing your grenades into people all the time probably feels a lot better. Developers comment, duration has been reduced to limit Brigitte's Inspire uptime, while the healing per second remains unchanged, ensuring that healing output is unaffected while Inspire is triggered consistently. Damage duration reduced from 5 to 4 seconds. I'd have to look. I am not sure what the cooldown on Whipshot is. It's crazy to me that Brigitte and Juno were running everything, and we'll have to see if they made a Juno change. Ilari, developer comment, Ilari's Captive Sun can be difficult to use effectively due to enemies' ability to dodge its effects. Increasing the radius will improve consistency and overall value of the ultimate. Explosion radius from 8 to 10 meters. Great. Maybe I'm just bad, but this always felt easy for them to capitalize on. So, adjustment to Lucio's health pool has impacted his survivability in fights. This change will increase his durability by improving his self-healing capabilities. Additionally, Sound Barrier now falls faster while midair, enabling more reactive and safer usage from higher positionings. That is dope. Self-healing penalty decreased from 60 to 40. This is fantastic. I'm excited to get some more Lucio games in with that. All right. So I think all in all, these changes are mostly positive. The hazard changes are interesting and not really what I expected. They're pretty much buffs all around with that slight decrease there. So I don't think that that's going to change much. I'm happy to see a Doomfist nerf because I hate Doomfist. This damage roll passive increase is gonna be insane. Anyways, I think all in all, it's not gonna shift the meta too much. It doesn't feel like they've done anything crazy. It's interesting that I think Orisa is the counter to Hazard and she got better, so we'll have to see how that goes. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on the patch notes. Can't wait to see you guys in game, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.